It's grown really well, a lot of interest. Pretty much got about 2 divisions going on now in Watford, 17 teams. We started it up last year, we started sort of planning what to do in Luton.
Okay.
I came on board with them as well. And I would say sort of this year we started with 6 teams. Alhamdulillah, a lot of coverage, had some really good sponsors on board. We've had Al Rayyan Bank on board, we've had LA Tech, Luton Windscreens, Omar Farouk helping out with the photography side of things. So, you know, everything's been, we've tried to sort of up everything, get it to a sort of more professional level. It's grown really well, a lot of interest. Pretty much got about 2 divisions going on now in Watford, 17 teams. We started it up last year, we started sort of planning what to do in Luton.
Okay.
I came on board with them as well. And I would say sort of this year we started with 6 teams. Alhamdulillah, a lot of coverage, had some really good sponsors on board. We've had Al Rayyan Bank on board, we've had LA Tech, Luton Windscreens, Omar Farouk helping out with the photography side of things. So, you know, everything's been, we've tried to sort of up everything, get it to a sort of more professional level. And just to spice it up a bit, we've had the Luton winners play the Watford winners for a bit of prize money as well.
Okay, mashallah, excellent. In regards the format itself, so if I understand this correctly, so it's a standard 8-a-side game, 16 overs. Every bowler bowls 2 overs and bats with a pair for a set of 4 overs, 3 runs for a wide. No ball and no retake ball unless it's the last over where the batsman gets an option. Ball in play. So similar as standard kind of cricket rules. Games last around an hour, and this is all indoors. To be honest, I remember playing indoor cricket a long time ago, and it was a situation where indoor cricket seems to be a lot more fun than outside. You don't have to run as much.
Yeah, as you're restricted in the sense that obviously the hall's only a certain size, so sometimes hitting sixes can be a bit easier, and you know, it can be a bit more of a batsman's game, I would say. But the reason our tournament is a bit different is if it hits the wall, you catch it, it's a -5. So as a pair, you sort of always bat your 4 overs, but the bowling team always is within that chance because you've got -5. You can get hit for a 6, but the next ball, if you've got wicket, technically in those 2 balls, you've only given 1 run. So it kind of can work both ways.
And what kind of in that 16 over game? What kind of scores are you getting? Is it quite high scores or?
Well, just to stop you there, sorry. In Watford, we do 16 overs because we sort of have the venue for ourselves for about 7-8 hours.
Okay.
The problem in Luton is, as you may know, the availability of you know, it's just really difficult. So we've only been able to get venue 360 this year for 2 hours. Hence, we had to use the same rules, but we've gone to 6-a-side as opposed to 8-a-side and
Okay.
12 overs instead of 16. But the final was in Watford and was 16 overs, so we changed that a little bit. But just going back to your point of you
Scores.
know, the scores, yeah. I mean, for 16 overs, I'll say, you know, 180 is a good score. Anyone who gets 200 plus, you know, is pretty much in the driving seat.
Excellent. That sounds really good, mashallah. And in regards to Luton, I know you said you were trying to kind of kickstart in Luton last year. Venue 360, of course, as a possible venue. Are there no other venues in Luton at all, which kind of can kind of accommodate this?
There are other venues, but it's availability. I mean, a lot of them have block bookings throughout the year, so it's very difficult to get hold of. And Venue 360 has its own buzz with the balcony, so you know, you had a lot of people coming in just to watch. You know, people were helping out with FB streaming it. You know, I had some close friends who were.
What about Denby High School?
Denby High School is another one that's sort of we're looking into for next year because.
I'm just thinking about the balcony you mentioned. They've got a bit of a balcony there as well.
They've got a set up as well. Okay,
so
that's something that
quite good.
yeah we'll definitely need to look into because obviously now it's off season. We've got a bit more time to kind of just pick the right venue because everyone's really wants a balcony there, and like you said, Denby might be the alternative option.
So basically, generally, it's an indoor cricket called Indoor Big Bash. So the purpose of this again, which is most interesting to me, is the fact that, of course, in cricket being a very much a summer kind of game, it's a situation where as soon as winter kicks in, you kind of have to put your stuff away and start watching football, I guess, because cricket has to kind of end. And I think one of the other things that you mentioned, a lot of the youngsters actually enjoy cricket. And are not able to do anything half of the year. I mean, in England, maybe longer than half the year, depending on what the weather's like. It's a game which can't really be enjoyed unless the weather's right outside. But you've actually taken that away and said, listen, we're still going to enjoy cricket. We don't care what the weather's like. And this game, your game, I think kind of works better even than the midweek league, which I mean I used to play for a number of years in Luton, and I mean it's amazing. I'm not sure if you ever played a midweek league here in Luton. Amazing, the talent that we've got here in Luton from a cricket perspective is just another level. But this goes to another level because you're in a situation where nothing can stop you. Your game will go ahead regardless of what the weather is, regardless of what the situation is. There's nothing that can stop it. Whereas a lot of the midweek leagues, it can get a little bit windy, and unfortunately the game isn't as good. The pitch, it's been raining the night before. The pitch is too damp. You can't get the same game. It's raining on the day itself, and the umpires don't turn up. So it's all sorts of problems. You're thinking to yourself, so you've got all those headaches. You don't have any headaches at all, apart from finding a good venue.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Like you said, winter gives the cricket lovers, it gives them the opportunity to sort of continue playing the sport they love, and that's very important. I mean, even with youngsters, keeping them sort of occupied. It's only an hour or so on a weekend. A lot of them, when they do come, they'll tend to watch the other games as well, because obviously it's related to their division, so whether or not the team wins, or they might be playing those same opponents the following week, so they kind of end up staying for the full 2 hours, and it really spices it up. It does get a bit competitive as well, but the good thing is, alhamdulillah, we have a lot of friends. You get the odd argument, but we've had very good umpires, and people who are watching as well have always been supportive. So look, let's just carry on with the game, let's get on with it, kind of thing. If you have
I think it's always good to have a competitive nature in any sport that you do. Again, that's the nature of the game itself. But again, I think discipline and having that, to me, is a lot more than playing the game itself. You can be the best player in the world, but if you don't have discipline, if you can't control yourself, and you don't have the etiquette to respect your opponent, I think that in itself is. I think as a player, for me anyway, that would kind of really take you down. Because I remember back in the midweek league, you used to sometimes have some really, really fiery players, amazing players, but they didn't have the etiquette to respect the umpires, the opponents, and they'll always get into arguments. And then in that kind of situation, I would personally, sometimes people enjoy that. They like to kind of like think, at least there's a bit of action going on, apart from the cricket. Yeah. But I think that you lose the momentum in the game, and it just kind of ruins things. So I think, alhamdulillah, it's good to know that you've actually got a lot of that in control.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the odd kickoff can happen. The odd, it does get a bit fiery, but the main aim is, people need to understand that we're here for a game, we're here to enjoy ourselves, and respect the umpire, respect the scorer. It is a difficult job. No one wants to kind of be in the firing line. Sorry?
Anybody accused of cheating?
Oh, I mean, it always happens to the umpires and scorers, sadly. Sometimes they might, it should have been this way. But at the end of the day, umpire's seen what he's seen. He's not got the, replay option, or he's not got a third umpire there.
Umpires, or is it umpiring between yourselves?
It's just, because it's our first year, we've just really had, friends helping out, that are already participating in the league. When it is a game where, just say they've got another bunch of close friends that are playing, sometimes they'll say, look, it's better I don't umpire, because people are just going to start thinking I'm taking sides and stuff.
Makes sense. So in regards to Luton itself, of course, Watford, it's been there for over 7 years now, very well established, mashallah, and again running very well. Luton, of course, you're trying to bring to it. I think last year you had it here, and you're trying to, of course, make it bigger in Luton. From an age perspective, what's the age requirements for this to enter this league?
There's no sort of restrictions. I mean, if you're good enough, then by all means you can put in a team.
11, 12, 13-year-old who want to play in a particular team, it's not a problem.
No, not a problem. Obviously, we would advise them, we'll allow them to wear a helmet. Generally, people don't wear a helmet, but because of the age.
Use the orange ball, or which
we have an indoor ball, so it's lighter than a hard ball.
Okay.
But obviously, we do advise our players to wear gloves and also a box as well, just for safety reasons. Because when the ball is new, if it does hit you on the leg, it'll probably sting a little bit. But after a couple of overs, it does get it's all right.
No, definitely. I think that's one of the best things about indoor cricket is the fact that you don't have to have all those that set of equipment. So you can literally just have a bat and walk in and say, I want to play too. So I think it's again excellent. Again, a lot of youngsters, I think it's a very good option, because I think one of the things that puts off youngsters is the whole aspect of thinking, I'm going to be running around fielding, and I'm going to be doing this. So a lot of the negativity around playing outside, about fielding all the time and never getting to bat and bowl, all the negativity of thinking, I don't have the kit to play, I'm going to have to wear somebody else's kit, it's not necessarily going to fit me. All those things I think are kind of eradicated in this indoor games, which is excellent to know. And so from an entry perspective, say for example, if I was in a position where I was thinking I wanted to not just basically play for a particular team, I wanted to enter my own team. Is that possible? How are you doing, taking the applications and stuff?
Yes, of course, that's definitely possible. The players are required to do is pay £10 for a top, which will have the sponsors' logos. They choose the colours, and just to give them that, they have their own team, and they come up with a team name as well. All the stats are uploaded online on a weekly basis moving forward, because we were just getting the website revamped this year. So inshallah that will be ready for the start of the next season. Other than that, it's £6 a player per game. We would obviously, in Luton is 6-a-side, we would advise to have a squad of about 8 or 9, because people are not available every week. And
what if somebody wanted to play but they didn't have a squad? Do you have opportunities where they can actually join some of the squad?
Yeah, we can pass it on to the other guys that are playing. That we do have a player, and if you want to have a look at him in nets or whatever, then by all means they're free to have them as a player. And generally, we've seen players from other leagues join as well.
Okay, and in regards the cost itself, so if somebody wanted to join, it's a £10 one-off fee for the kit, and it'll be £6 per game.
Yeah, we have no entry fee in Luton at the moment, but balls are provided by us, umpires will be there provided by us. We update all the scores, etc. So generally, in terms of baggage, there's not a lot that they have to sort of fork out, really.
Excellent. And in regards to the actual timing itself, are these mostly evening games, weekend games? Do you have a set time when you play them?
We run it on a Sunday. In Venue 360 this year it was 12 till 2, because we haven't got an alternative sorted yet. That may be going forward as well. It all depends on how many teams we have as well. Obviously, if we've got 8 to 10 teams, we can't really accommodate for them, because we can only do two games a week. So we had 6, so we had 2 sort of playing on and off. Inshallah, if we can get a venue which gives us 3-4 hours, then we can sort of put in 8 to 10 teams. So
most definitely. So at the moment in Luton, would it be correct to say that you are actually calling out for players, calling out for teams to actually join in and get involved with this?
Yeah, while it's off season, as you know, outdoor season is about to start, so a lot of focus is on that at the moment.
Yep.
But as we sort of get through, I would say halfway through the outdoor season, that's when the applications will start opening. So by the end of the outdoor season, inshallah, we know exactly how many teams we have, venue, everything is arranged by then, website's ready to go, and excellent. We can sort of hit on to next year.
And one of the key things, I'm sure for those people who actually play midweek league, one of the things which the changes I've seen recently is the fact that there used to be particular teams who used to be amazing, and the reason they were amazing was because they had professionals on their team from outside Luton who weren't necessarily part of the community. I think for the last couple of years now, they've had strict rules and regulations where you had to have individuals from local talent playing for your teams, and no internationals or even semi-professionals were allowed to enter if they were not from Luton. And you can see certain teams have just completely collapsed, because obviously that was their bread and butter. What about this particular leagues and stuff? Are you allowing any professionals or is there any strict rules and regulations? Does the individual have to be from Luton? Are you checking passports? How does it work?
We've not put any restrictions as such in place, but thankfully the first year has been quite competitive, in the sense that there have been very close games from literally the start all the way to the final, which my team was in the final, Gladiators versus the Vipers, and the Vipers literally won by 1 run. So it was and it was streamed on Facebook. We put the game up on YouTube as well, so it was literally end-to-end stuff throughout the season, apart from maybe just a few games that might have gone a lot of them were last over thrillers.
Excellent, Marshall. That sounds amazing. I think it'll be something really interesting for the Inspire Film team to follow, and inshallah ta'ala, maybe even come down and do some Facebook Live on one of your games if possible. But again, I think what we'll do is maybe closer to the mid-season when you are actually looking for applications, because one of the things we as Insan tend to do is forget, and I'm sure people will probably forget for when you actually look for applications. Or maybe we'll have a follow-up interview with yourself, and just to remind the listeners about the indoor Big Bash, and of course remind them of the process and how they can do this. But it's very good to know that alhamdulillah you've actually, you've started something like this, which allows the cricket lovers to do something in the winter. And I think one of the key things that I really, I was speaking to a brother yesterday who actually came down, because we used to have this, we used to run a school called Sunday School. We used to have a number of activities there, and there's a number of people in Luton who've been through that. So when I say Sunday School, a lot of people are probably listening out will think, yep, I was there. I went there myself for a number of years. At the moment, the reason he came down is because he was saying, I benefited from that service many years ago. I was there. You helped me through a number of subjects. There was lots of sports available. We were playing cricket, football, doing this, all that kind of stuff. Now there's youngsters and they've got nothing to do. So alhamdulillah, it's excellent to see that you guys have at least given the youngsters that opportunity to be able to get involved with something good, alhamdulillah, and actually being able to put the energy to good use, and at not such a high cost. Because often what sometimes tends to happen is people will try to arrange certain activities for youngsters, but then put a cost of £50 against it, and then you're thinking, well, have you really arranged that for the youngsters? Because they're not actually, majority of the people are not going to actually be able to benefit from that, because they just financially it's not a viable project for them. So alhamdulillah, it's very good to see with that. Any other final thoughts you may have for the listeners?
Just sort of our future plans. So we've got a base in Luton now. We've got a base in Watford. We've had a team entered in the Watford League for the last 2 years, and they're from Wembley. Okay. So they'll be doing a friendly next week, just to sort of get the Wembley crowd in, see how it is. Let's see what the response is like, but most likely we'll have Wembley and potentially even Slough next year starting up. So that'll be 4 areas, and the champions of each area would then come together on the finals day.
Excellent, mashallah.
And play for a bit of prize money as well.
Excellent, mashallah. No, really good plans, mashallah. Pray it goes well for you. And again, I've noted that you've got actually some top coverage before, with Geo coming on board, as well as, of course, lots of stars, mashallah, giving you, you sent me quite a few videos of a lot of stars, Sarfaraz Ahmed, Asad Shafiq, and even the legend Viv Richards supporting the work that you're doing. So mashallah, very good to hear. Jazakallah for coming in today. I know you had to put your work late, and I know you're dying to run off to work, mashallah. Well, pray this goes well for you. Do keep us in the loop, even if it means with the results and stuff. If you can, of course, keep us up to date. We can announce on a regular basis. I would actually, personally, like to come down to one of the games myself, and actually do a Facebook Live for our listeners, just to see how it actually works. And I'm sure there's going to be many listeners who are currently thinking that this is actually something that's right up their stream, and they would probably love to get involved, inshallah. So we're going to give them that information closer to the time. Jazakallah for coming in.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Brother Uzayr, of course, they're from the indoor Big Bash. You've got a bit of a complaint coming in.